show about you. A show where your questions, comments, and concerns are aired for all to hear. You have an opinion and we want to hear it. Hosts Mike and Jenn have worked together over 3 years and will provide the best intuitive information they have. This show has no limits. This show has no boundaries. This show has no agenda. Now, your host of No Agenda, Mike and Jenn.
Good morning and welcome to No Agenda on WLTK-DB radio on Memorial Day.
Yes, happy Memorial Day.
So here we are. Third week in a row.
Third one. That's what I was thinking.
We haven't been fired yet. I'm going to talk about this because I'm still like in shock that.
Don't put that out into the universe though.
That Todd WLTK have invited us back again.
I see Tony on there. We've got Ward. Good morning, Jacqueline. There's Michelle. I see Sherry. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate your time. I know it's a holiday today as well, so thanks for choosing to spend it with us this morning.
Yes. So when we put the show topic together a few days ago, I had nothing in mind, which kind of goes with why we kind of chose that the title of our show, because it usually doesn't pop up until either we're talking or maybe the day before. And in this case, it was the day before. So the thought crossed my mind to kind of talk to the other mediums out there. And this can be if you're just beginning, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what level you're at. And maybe you're thinking of delving into your abilities. And then, this is for everybody else too, but I just kind of wanted to talk about some of the things that we go through as mediums that really doesn't get talked about often enough. And for me, I'll just start this. When I first began, I kind of was on my own. I really was. And I was kind of learning on my own. And some of the first things I experienced was like burnout. I didn't understand what burnout was. I didn't even understand it had a term. I just knew that shortly after I began, I wanted to run away from this work and never do it again. I just completely wanted to stop doing readings. I didn't want anything to do with it. And I thought, where did this come from all of a sudden? And luckily, I did have one or two people that I was, connected with at the time. And I kind of voiced it and they said, that's completely normal. And we talked about it.
Yeah, definitely not alone in that.
No, so that's kind of where, I thought maybe we could go today and just kind of talk about some of the areas that we experience. Nothing's off the table. So if you're out there and you do this work, you've had experiences, go ahead and share it in the comments. We want to talk about this because, in the mediumship energy work community, we are a family and we share a lot of our experiences together. And for that purpose, it's to let you know that you're not alone and these feelings and thoughts that you have are normal. So I'll stop there because I don't want to do all the talking right now.
See, you and I have talked about burnout a lot. I kind of want to go back to that for a minute. Just because I had an experience this weekend. We always say, if we don't take that break when prompted and we know that we're going to get the break one way or another, right? The universe is going to give it to us. And that usually comes, for me anyway, in the form of sickness or I'm extremely, extremely tired. And that's something that I've really had to listen to that. It's time to slow down. It's time to take a break. And if I don't, I will get sick. So I've had, and the quality of my readings will go downhill as well. So I've noticed that when I get those prompts, And I think that goes with anything though, right? We'll get
Right.
those prompts to slow down. There's too much on our plate. Take a little bit off and rest. Rest is super, super important.
Yeah, it is. Oh my God, there's so many areas we could go into with this. But yeah, the burnout for sure. And you mentioned sickness too. Um, this is something I've struggled with in the very beginning. Um, if I wasn't feeling up to it, I would still push ahead through a reading, and after a while and thinking about it, I'm like, no. So again, I talked to other people that I was connected with about that and just asked, what do you guys do when you're sick or not feeling up to it? And of course, you're going to get just a array of answers from I don't do them to I push through it. And I think it is. I think you just have to do what's right for you. But this is my perspective on it, and something I thought about when that does arise is I want to make sure that I'm 100%. I owe it to the people that are contacting me for readings. I have to give them everything I got.
Yes.
And if I'm not at my best for whatever reason, it may upset the person that has the scheduled appointment, but look, this is my perspective. I would rather have you angry at me for rescheduling than me going through with a reading that I know I'm not up to my, physical, mental best. Because with most clients, you have that one time to make that impression. And I want it to be a positive one.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So for me, when I'm not feeling up to it, which is not often, I mean, it's really not that often, but when I do, I choose to just reschedule. So that's one thing.
So I just want to acknowledge, I see we have quite a few more viewers on. So we see you there. I see Teresa, Angela, Kaylee, Carla. Looks like Anna is there. There's a lot of you. So thanks for joining us today. And there was a question. Carla was asking, how do you deal with being the only person in your family who believes? I'm having such a hard time with this.
I can't really speak to the perspective of being the only one who believes. I'm fortunate in that way, that, from the beginning, I've been supported, by literally, I'll say in my immediate family, when I talk about my mom, my sister, my brother, maybe not so much, not that they don't believe. It's kind of like they're on that line, but they understand what I do, and it's not like a negative thing, in their eyes.
Right. I've had a lot of support with my family too, but I'll tell you one thing, Carla, that I learned really quick. When I would run up against somebody that wasn't overly supportive or didn't believe, I never tried to convince them otherwise. I just would step away, like kind of from the conversation. It was nothing I ever pushed or said, oh yeah, or tried to prove, or like I said, convince otherwise. I just let them be in their belief, and I would be, in mine. And I did start to see a shift the more that I did the work.
Mhm.
And I think it was just, I was just communicating it silently to them. Okay. But I'm still, going forward. And I do start to see a shift in those people. They do start to believe, because I think there is a curiosity, right? When we start something like that, they're
Yeah.
going to watch, and they are going to, they're going to be involved in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just watching from the sidelines. So just be confident in what you're doing, and just silently step away from those. That's the suggestion that I would give. Is just
Yeah.
stand firm in your beliefs and allow them to have theirs.
Yeah. And try to find a common ground, if you will. But,
Yes.
and Carly, you're not alone. There are so many people that I talk to that, I mean, again, there's a spectrum of, a person that, could know that does this, that their family is totally against it, everywhere to the full support. But what I find is the people that are called to do this work, if you will, it's a hard decision, and it's a personal decision. How do you handle that? And for some, it comes down to, if they're passionate enough about it, again, they see the help that they're providing to people. Some of them make that hard decision to, like, all right, I'm going out and doing this. And, if my family doesn't support me, that's their choice. We'll keep the status quo, but, I have to do this. So just know, again, and here's something I'll add to this, and then we'll move on. But what I find for those people that don't have the support of their family, they find it with other family. And what I mean by that is those of us that do this work, everybody supports each other, so there's
Absolutely.
always somebody to lean on and talk with. And just, again, know that you're not alone. You're not alone with those feelings.
And that really has been like a saving grace for me, because there are some things that happen, or that I feel that I can't just go to anybody and explain to them, right? But I can go to some of that medium family and they get it. And
Yeah.
even if they don't get it, they're open to me talking about it. They're like, I've never had that experience, but wow, right? They are understanding of the place that I'm coming from, which is huge. And so I will tell you, when I found like my soul people, like Michael, and there's a whole bunch of them, right? That I could go to with those things. And it was such a shift for me. It was just a shift, because I realized that I wasn't alone, that I wasn't crazy. Other people had this passion. Other people understood, Michael and I don't go to each other a lot with things, but when we need to bitch, sometimes I just need to bitch for a minute.
I know. I surprised Jen. What was it, last week? I just called her
Yeah.
over Messenger. She thought I butt dialed because I never call her, but I was just like, I got to get this off my chest, because, oh my God, am I just freaking annoyed to no end here with this situation that was happening. And I was like,
And I think we were on the phone at 3 minutes. He said,
3
I
minutes.
promised myself 1 minute to bitch. We're at 3. See you later. Have a good day. I was like, have a nice one.
Jen's probably like, oh, he's drinking again.
But no, I'm very grateful for those friendships. I'm very grateful for those, those people that I can reach out to like that. So it makes a huge difference in this journey for me. Like I said, when I found those people, it was just a shift.
Yep, it really is. So another topic that comes up, the criticism. It's I know it's rare that mediums and psychics get criticized, right? It's very rare. It hardly ever happens.
Never.
It's like, I mean, I don't even know why I'm talking about it, because it's so rare that we get criticized for something, like this, but it happens. So that's another one, that, and let me just I should have put like a topic sentence on this too, things that drive you away from wanting to do this work, because all these things fall into that category, and it's something that we all go through. And I don't want to say struggle with, but we deal with, and we learn from it. But the criticism is probably, I would say that would be number one on the list of what stops people from doing this work. I just want to share my experience. I have been probably one of the most fortunate in this area, that I don't think, I can remember one instance where it was like criticized, or I was criticized, and it was actually at a news station, local news station, that I was invited to do an interview with prior to like a psychic fair I was doing. And it was actually in person, and this cameraman kind of just turned on me and started just ripping into me about, why do you do this work? Why do you lie to people? And blah, blah, blah. If anybody knows me, my personality is not to remain calm and just sit there cold stone face and just take it. Usually my temper flares like a pack of hemorrhoids, and I'm into it. And this time, I don't know what it was. I just was calm. I remember my sister coming in behind me and say, just keep your mouth shut. I felt her say that. And I just sat there and let this guy rant and rant and rant. And I didn't say a single word. And after it was done, the station manager came out and just hauled him off, and told him what was what. But right after it was over, again, my sister was like, you needed to experience that, because you're going to deal with this. And this was early on. This was several years ago. But it was just like that lesson. It's like, get used to this type of stuff. How are you going to react? And it made me look at myself. And I did. In that instance, I was like, I know who I am. I know why I do this work. I do it with integrity, so it was all these things that I just had to look at myself and say, no, this is who I am. That person doesn't know me. Why am I going to let him affect me? Yes. Again, it's knowing who you are and what you do. And if you're stable with that, if you're sound with that, and you know who you are, and again, why you do this, it's almost like that suit of armor that, so what, let them talk. And I
Right.
didn't need to react. I just sat there. I was like, just let them rant.
Yeah. I only had that happen one time. It was a different scenario, but it was the, the whole, what you're doing is evil and satanic. That was the way that one went. And again, just like I was telling Carla earlier, I just had to back away from that. And I
Yeah.
just had to let them have their belief. There was no way I was going to change their mind. I knew that.
Right.
Nothing that I could say, nothing that I could do. So I just held firm in, like Michael was saying, who I am, what I know, and my stance on it, and they could have theirs, and that was okay. And actually, that person was family, so I just kind of had to walk away from that.
Oh, we would have been out in the backyard. There would have been, we're back to 15 years old, and we're just gonna. It's fisticuff time. It's go time. No. What was I going to add to that? There was something I was going to add to that, but maybe it'll come back here in a second. But yeah, just dealing with that criticism. It's just part of the journey, and you just learn to deal with it.
Here's something I deal with, Michael. I haven't heard you talk about it a lot, so you might have a better way to deal with it than I do.
Is it rainbows and unicorn farts?
It's not rainbows and unicorns. No.
Okay.
But it is emotions that come to me personally.
Oh God, you're not going to talk about feelings, are you?
Yes, I am. I'm going to talk about feelings.
Feelings.
And sometimes after I leave a reading, right, especially if it's a really an emotional one or a tough one, and we see some tough things, sometimes I tend to carry that with myself a little bit longer than I should. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting a lot better at realizing that's not mine. I'm just the messenger, and letting those things go. But how do you deal with that, Michael? Well, you don't have feelings. You don't have to deal with it.
I'm a cold-hearted SOB. Just know that, people.
Full of it.
This is what I was going to add to the criticism. My view on this, it's not my job to make people believe in this. That's never my stance on this. I just do my work, and I let my work speak for itself. And it's, again, I don't think it's our job as mediums to make people or try to make people believe this. That's not. That's all I wanted to add to that. So now on to the most difficult subject of all for me. It's feelings. And it's funny because when I started doing this work, and my very first teacher talked about clairsentience, and I was like, what's clairsentience? And it's like clear feeling. I'm like, I got to feel things.
I can't do this.
Oh God, I got to feel things. Like what kind of things, So I begrudgingly pushed forward, and over the years, now I clearly understand what feelings are. But oh my God, yes, the list of feelings that we go through with this.
Yes.
And this rolls into, the topics of, imposter syndrome, not being good enough, not feeling that you're good enough. Oh my God, just there's tons of just different feelings and emotions that we go through. But the one you mentioned, top of the list is beating ourselves up after a session. I think that anybody that does any type of work, like artists, my wife will say that this painting is not good enough, and I'm looking at it going, that's incredible work. But we're always we always have that self-criticism, and we're always nitpicking things. And for me, it's been a journey of having to just literally learn how to just, when the reading stops, it's done. It's in the past, whether it was good, not so good, whatever, it's over. And I just have to move on from it. And what I find is, I may think it's the worst reading at all, but then the feedback I get from a client is like, very positive. So again, it's ourselves beating things up that, I should have dug deeper into that message, or I wish I could have understood the meaning that the person in spirit was trying to get through. And again, it's like, I just have my experience with this, but I go into a reading, I do the very best I can. We literally take energy and interpret it and translate it into physical language. So within that, there's going to be misunderstandings. We're going to misunderstand. Exactly. And again, as long as I do the very best that I know I'm capable of, I can walk away from each reading going, I did the best I can, and I leave it there. Now, was it easy to get to that point? Hell no. Is there
No,
still that 0.1% that still goes, you should have, and I just have to quiet it?
yes. And I would obsess, like after when I first started, I would do a reading, and then afterwards I would do that. The whole thing would play through my mind again. And oh, I should have said it that way, or did I miss this? Did I miss that? And it would go on for an hour. Like the reading was an hour, and then I'd do that to myself for an hour. And I had to learn, no, it's done. You didn't say it. You didn't do it. Like it's done, and it's fine. And just like you said, I'm harder on myself because my clients come back, with good feedback there. And so I don't know. It's a thing.
It is.
It's a thing. So Melissa.
That's weird. I was just going to read that too. So go ahead.
Okay. Melissa is asking if we've ever had a client that we start to get bad vibes, I got it backwards, bad vibes from. And if we've ever had a client say that they get a bad vibe from us. I've never had a client say that to me. I really haven't. And I can't even say a bad vibe. But just like when we talk about when spirit comes in, we can kind of feel the difference in energy, right? I just kind of can understand their energy. And no, I wouldn't say bad. It's just different. I have had that.
Yeah, I can definitely, and this is something too that I need to pay closer attention to, because I've actually canceled appointments for this. So when someone schedules a reading, I get the email about it. Usually as soon as I see an email, I'll get a feeling. It's weirdest thing ever. And at first I didn't pay any attention to it, but I'll get this feeling like I'm not the right person for this reading.
Right.
And there's been times where I just ignored it and pushed it and the reading goes not so well. And I'm like, that's weird. But I come to just rely on that now. I'll just get that feeling. It's like, okay, this may be a difficult reading in the way of it's going to be heavy. And, just because of the amount of loss that this person's going through, that type of thing. I can't use the word bad vibe from a person, but I have got that this is going to be a tough one.
Yes.
And that's where, and again, I'm constantly evolving and learning and going forward. But when I have those vibes, it's like, this is what I tell myself. It's like, okay, just put your trust in spirit. They're the ones sending the messages. If I get that feeling from a client, I just have to I put all my awareness with them.
Right.
And I let them speak. I let the spirit person speak, and I just go forward with that. And again, that's just a teensy little, we could go on about that subject forever.
And some are tougher than others.
Yeah.
Some really are. And I think that is just, just like we have connections, that connection is the same when we're doing a reading, right? We either connect with somebody or we don't. And sometimes personalities are very different. Like you can feel that, just like you can if you were to run into somebody in the street. Yeah. And so like Michael said, you do know this one's going to be a little hard. This one's going to take a little bit more.
a little bit.
Or a lot.
But, and I love skeptics. I want anybody who goes for a reading, you need to be skeptical. I will tell you that I'm a skeptic. I'm skeptical of my own work. And even from the beginning, when this was all happening, my message to spirit from them was, I'm a skeptic. We're going to have to work together. And the messages that come through have to be very specific, evidential, air quotes, or I'm walking away, because I'm not going to sit here and just, blow smoke up people's butt about messages and just these warm, fluffy BS messages. There has to be meat to the bone. There has to be messages that mean something. So I love it when I sit down with a client and the first thing, and I just had this happen a few weeks ago, this person was like, I'm a skeptic. I know mediums and psychics can read body language. And she was I had a list, and I'm like, thank you. And I was sincere about that. I was like, thank you I encourage this. I need to work for this. And this is exactly what I told this person. It's like, I need to work for this to show you that this is your person coming through. And all I ask is that you be open and honest with the feedback. But I want you to be a skeptic. I want you to be hard on me. I want you to make me work for this. And it was amazing that the evidence that came out after the messages, because this woman walked away just with, she's just, I have to process this, and it was just like, so it felt really good, but we have to prepare for that. And I
Yes.
think, I don't know where I'm going with this. I could drag this out, but anyway, I love skeptics. I want you to be a skeptic.
So Sherry has a question. How do you feel a spirit? Is it a feeling or just a knowing? So for me, it can be both. It's different every time. Sometimes it is an actual feeling, an actual physical feeling. The energy around just feels a little bit different, right? And then there's the knowing. So that's how it is for me. Even just talking about it, like right now in this moment, I can feel that. So that's because my attention is now, like my awareness is now shifted to what does it feel like when a spirit is around. So even in talking about it and knowing that I'm working, I can begin to feel that feeling. So for me, it's a physical feeling and an emotional feeling, but also a knowing. So it's not just one thing, at least for me. I don't know how it is for Michael.
It is. And it comes with time, and it comes from development. That's why I think our first episode where we talked, maybe, I don't know, I'm old, so I lose my thought on when things happen, but I talked about an exercise at one point where you have to learn to feel your own energy when you're alone. What's that feel like? And then once you're comfortable with that, then you move into inviting your spirit people to join you and getting a feeling of what that's like. What physical feelings do you have?
Like.
Yeah. What thoughts come into your mind? For me, just like Jennifer said, and it's funny because just like you, when we talked about it, I felt.
You feel it.
Like, I felt a man. I don't feel he's not making contact, but I feel a person, a male person. Oh my God, I can't talk when spirit gets around. I start stuttering. But I felt the energy of a male off to my right, and that's where males come in. And that's just what I developed over time is when a male energy approaches, I feel him on my right, females are on my left.
So you were just talking. This is something I want to talk about how we lose our words, or I become forgetful when I start to read. Like I do. I start to lose my words. I start to fumble a little bit. What is that about, do you think?
Well, when I shift my awareness to spirit, when I take a deep breath and I make that shift, from that point on, those are not my words. Those are not my thoughts. Those are not my feelings.
Right.
Those are spirit. And again, that comes with development and that T word, trust. Because I often, a very good question people have is how do you separate your thoughts from those of spirit? And it's discipline, and it's practice, and it's trust. As I said, right now I'm talking to you. This is me talking to you. If I'm getting ready to do a message, I shift my awareness to that space, which is always behind me for some reason. And then I know everything from that point on, it's a connection. And any thought that touches my mind, a spark, if you will, I talk about it. And I know it's spirit. And that's very brief. Again, these are topics that we can go into very deep, and we do when we teach. But that's like a very quick synopsis, if you will.
Yeah, it's really important to understand what your own energy feels like and to sit in that for a little bit, because that's when you understand when that energy, and it's very subtle. It's a subtle shift. Yeah. But when that shift happens, you're able to pick up on it because it feels different.
Yeah. And I almost get this, it's almost like, it's weird. It's like, and it's hard for me sometimes to turn feeling into language, because some of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions we have, there are no words. It's so bizarre, but it's like I just get this feeling of knowing that the message I'm about to pass is correct. Someone's going to identify with it. It's so strange, but it's like when I say these words, I know this is going to connect with this person, and it's like weird. It does, So there's all these things that you become aware of once you start working with this energy. And it's like learning a different language, and you're always learning. There's always something else that's gonna present. And spirit over the years has a way of not letting you get into your comfort zone and being like, okay, I'm there. Every time I feel like I understand something, something shifts, so it's kind of like they keep you on your toes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's lifelong learning. And that's the thing. It's like I always laugh because I'm like, I picked the path that I will never be an expert in. Like I will never, ever, ever, I can never say that I'm a master of it because it doesn't matter how many years we do this. There's just more learning. There's more thrown in.
Yeah. It's
More
like
and more and more. And it's awesome. Like I love it, but
yeah, I don't
a lot.
ever want to get to a level where I'm like, okay, that's all I need to know.
Right.
How
Done.
boring would that be? That would be just, no, there's always more. And I feel I need to add this one thing, because when spirit comes in, we're not feeling their emotions. Now, this is something I read, and I can't remember if spirits that actually explained this to me or not, but I know I've read this. So spirit per se, when we're out of the physical body, spirit doesn't necessarily have emotions. Now, if I'm wrong on this and somebody else can enlighten me, please do. But the way I understand it is when spirit moves in, they trigger emotions in us to help us understand what that person was going through in life. So say that they were, a person that was very happy, always in a good mood. I'm going to feel that emotion like, holy crap, I feel like in such a great mood. Like I'm not allowed to be in a bad mood. And I'll say that, and the person that I'm sitting with, I'm like, yeah, this person was one of those people that was always upbeat, always had a smile, blah, 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 blah. So it's interesting how they trigger that emotion in us to get us to understand what they want to convey to the person in front of me. If that makes sense.
Yes. So, well, that's it. Like the essence of who they were is what comes through.
Yes.
So let's see, Casey. Good morning, Casey. She said she's having a hard time hearing us. That might be on your end, Casey. I haven't seen anybody else mention that. Can everybody else hear us okay?
I'm sorry, I got lost in the chat.
No, that's what I'm looking at now as well.
All right. Sorry, ADD kicked in. Okay. So what other topics or what other experiences have you had out there? The mediums. I'd love to hear some of the things that you've gone through and share.
Let's talk about Sherry's question while we're waiting. She's saying she's been told her whole life that she's very in tune. She is afraid to really open up because she doesn't want to see a spirit. She feels like she would be scared.
I can relate with that. So I don't see spirit often. And usually when I do, it's in my bedroom at night, and it's rare because in the very beginning, I think I talked about this in our first show too, is boundaries. I'm like, don't come into my room at night. Don't bother me when I'm just going about my day. But with actual seeing, there's been a few times where, I'll wake up and there's somebody literally, like, I'll see somebody's head floating above mine, and it just, it's uneasy, an uneasy feeling to say the least. I mean, it startles me more than scares me, because yes. I'm like, what the hell? So I've just said to my guys, it's like, all right, enough with that. No, I don't need that. More. I'm getting older, I don't want to have a heart attack and join them because I see somebody floating above my head right now.
I don't think you're helping Sherry feel any more comfortable.
I'm moving towards my point now, because I wanted to share that I have had that experience. So my point is that you just need to tell your guides, like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to physically see spirit. And they will listen, they'll respond. And it's like, yes. Again, it's setting your intentions on what you want, what you don't want. There's people that deal with, readings that they see the horrific images of, someone's passing, and they're like, no, give me a feeling of what they experienced, but I don't want to see visuals. And they kind of just, they will work with you to kind of tune that down to where you're comfortable, to where you can receive the information in a way to convey it to the sitter, but you're not experiencing it. If that, if I hope that
that's
helps.
Something that I've had to work on, and that I still have to work on, because I can see sometimes things very, very, very vividly, and I don't need to see all of that. So I've had to pull back some of that. But yeah, that's just in working with your guides. That's really just in setting your intentions and asking for that.
Yeah, like the one time I was doing a reading, and someone's uncle was running naked down the hallway, and I saw it. I'm like,
I don't need to
I'm like, why am I seeing this person running naked down their hall? And the person's like, yeah, I used to do that crap all the time. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right.
I think we were on a live one time when the shirtless guy came through and I couldn't stop laughing,
Oh my God.
showing his muscles and doing all the things.
I mean, some of the things we experience, it's
I
again,
feel spirit. I feel spirit, and it startles me more than I see. So, sometimes I just feel and I'm like, ooh, or like I can feel somebody next to me or around me. Not very often, but when it happens, it is startling. And I just like I'm not working, and I'll say I'm not working, or a lot of times I'll say thank you. Like I see you, and just acknowledgement is enough.
yeah, I don't have too many persistent spirits because I don't pay them attention. When
Right.
I mean, I've said this before jokingly. I've walked into doors and boards, and I got to share this because this is how like clueless I am of the spirit world when I'm out doing my normal thing. We're up at my where my wife used to live as a kid, and they were redoing the house, and we were taking a walk through, and I remember ducking over this 2x4 that was probably about 4 feet off the floor, holding up the door support to get in. So I remember ducking to get in. Apparently, when I walked out, again, no idea what was going on, and I walked right into it, and it almost knocked me out. I mean, I walked and it hit, and I saw stars. And my brother, I heard this giggle in my mind, and I'm like, "Where the hell were you on that one when I came to?"
Right.
So again, I was like, "Okay, I understand you not wanting to interfere, but could you have helped me out with that one?" No.
Let me know. So Kevin is saying replace the fear with curiosity, and that's
Yes,
a really good statement right there. Exactly.
it is. That's actually profound because it makes yes. That is
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, it's a
Why are you here? What do
great
you
way to
want?
look at it. Hmm.
So, and again, there's nothing to fear. My personal view on spirit is like, I have nothing to fear. And I know that could be a whole different topic, but I look at it this way
Right.
when it comes to fear, and try to settle people's fears and give them this to think about. It's like, look, I've been working with spirit now for 8 years, and never once have I felt uneasy, scared, by anything. I never look at spirit as evil. That's just my perspective, right? And I also have this thought. It's like, what do we have to fear if we have our guides, we have our friends and family on the other side? I just can't help but think that they would intervene. Why would they allow something that was negative to affect me? That's my thought on this, and I know there's going to be different perspectives, but that's what makes me so comfortable doing this work is I don't
Right.
need to protect myself because I'm already protected. What's there to fear? The essence of the other side is love. It really is.
Yes.
So that's my little soapbox.
Yeah, we've talked about that several times.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important, I think it's important. I'll tell you, I started and I started leading a circle here, and it is a circle full of beginners. And it was really interesting because on the first night, when I asked them, what do you think mediumship is? Like, right? Throw it up here. Let me hear it. Protection. And so we had to have that conversation.
Yeah. And I understand it because, thanks to TV and
Yes.
drama and other things that go along with this work, there is a lot of that fear that's created for the sake of television. And I know that's a controversial subject, but I can only share my experience and my thought on these. And that is, my answer to them is like, if you have that thought that everything is scary and fearful, guess what you're going to experience?
Scary and fearful.
So again, that's what I just said earlier about what I feel about the other side. And so I've never felt this need to protect myself. There's no rituals that I need to do. I just don't feel the need for it. And again, if they were going to get me, they would have already gotten me by now, so again, that's my perspective, my belief, so that's all I have to really go on is what I experience it and how I experience it. Wow. All right. Back to comments.
Yeah, there's quite a few comments on here, so I'm trying to catch up.
We promise we will get into some readings.
Yes, there is a link posted
Yep.
right? And I believe Todd will post it again when we're ready to pull some of you guys up here. So
Yep.
just click on that link. You may have to wait in, I guess we'll call it the back room, right?
Yep.
And no guarantees. Like, I don't know what time it's going to look like. We may pull you up, we may not. So,
yeah.
But for a chance to do that, you'll just follow that link when he throws it up.
Yep. And it's completely random. So, and the readings will be short, very short, just to get through them.
Tony is asking a question, and I want to go there. How do you guys know when you choose a deck of cards versus readings? So they're actually, Tony, for me, they're two very different things, right? If I'm pulling a card, it's going to be more of a psychic question than a mediumship. Now, it may lead into making a short connection, but the cards are they're just a way to get a quick connection to reach more people on the feed. That's really what they are. I don't use cards in my private readings. I don't believe that Michael does either, because they are a different type of reading. So these cards really are just used from me to do lives, or maybe with a group of friends, or maybe, for myself. It's just a quick way to read the energy surrounding that person. It just really can get you in. A lot of times, just the intention of pulling a card for somebody is enough to go there. And I know Michael's the same way. Sometimes we don't even have to read what's on the card, because we've got them in our intentions, right? We have them in our energy space as we're shuffling that card. And a lot of times that's where the message comes through before the card is even pulled. So just a quick way to hop in there. So
yeah.
Desiree says, I'm cutting out.
I hear you loud and clear. So the same for me. Cards, I usually use them during Facebook Lives, especially if someone says, I just want a general, because it gets me to focus on maybe whatever comes out. And I have faith that whatever comes out is going to be a topic or subject that this person needs to hear about. But if you sit down with a reading for me, like in person, it's in your energy. And usually a person will have a question about something, and I feel into that. And I tell people, it's like, I don't predict your future. I will not predict your future. Some things may come out that are futuristic that I'm not aware of. But I believe when I do a psychic, and there's psychic reading, mediumship reading, they're two very different things.
Yes.
What becomes what I become aware is what a person needs help with in that moment, or a reminder of in that moment. So again, I'm not going to tell you, when you're going to meet your next partner. I'm not going to tell you when you're going to win the lottery. It's not, to me, that's not psychic work. Psychic work is connecting with somebody's energy to help them refocus on why they're here, what they need to focus on to help themselves out of their own situation, because spirit does not do that work for you. And I know there's a lot of people out there, including me, that at times have said, okay, you got to help me out and show me the way.
Yes.
Not going to happen. They will show you
they'll show you how to find your own way.
Exactly. Give you the tools to work with.
Yes.
But they're never going to take you from point A to point B. Right. And that sometimes discourages people, because a lot of people don't want to do their own work. But you do. You have to. They're not going to do it for you. So the cards are a tool. That's all they are.
Yes. Okay, let's look at some questions or some comments. And then you about ready to pull some people in, Michael?
Yep. I just got to pause my camera and mute real quick, like 2 seconds.
Okay. So there is a link here in the thread, and I imagine that Todd will post it again. Click on that link. You don't need to download anything. Click on that link. And again, it's going to put you in a back room, and then you will have a chance to come up. If you have a question, throw it out there for us when you come up. So we're just going to take a minute. Let's see.
I'm back.
Yes. Chrissy says it's a roadmap to the path that they are needing to travel. Exactly. Okay, there's the link. I see it up there.
Well, here, let me throw out one example about a psychic reading. For me, years, people were telling me, you're going to be doing this work full time. You're going to be doing this work full time. I don't believe in any of those readings. Someone said on June 4th, 2023, you're going to be doing this work full time. It was just in my energy that this is the path I'm on. Still my decision, as I've clearly demonstrated by quitting my job 3 times. There's those ups and downs. And again, it wasn't anything a psychic told me or didn't tell me. It was just in the energy. Maybe the time wasn't right. But again, I never saw that as they were wrong. No, it was just the timing of things. And I'm persistent. And I always knew that this is where this was leading. And, here I am. Again, I'm just following my own path and my feelings, my gut feelings on things. And, this is where it led me. This is where I'm at today. And it's the only thing I have control over, but not really. But we have the moment.
Right. Teresa, I need to make an important decision. It has been stressing me a lot. Hop on that link, Teresa. Let's talk about it.
So Todd's in the chat. I forgot we have the private chat.
I better look.
Heather is ready to come up. So maybe we'll
Heather.
talk with Heather first.
All right. I forget about that chat too. I forget to look. So we have somebody.
The other thing I like about live readings, and I probably other mediums may hesitate to say this, but we do these live readings and you see exactly what you're going to get. Sometimes we are bang on and sometimes we're like so far off.
Yeah.
And that's just reality. And I want people to see this because, most people's perception of a medium is what they see on TV. And I'll tell you, you're seeing 5 minutes of an hour-long reading where everything's like, yes, 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 yes.
Perfect.
You're not seeing the dramatic pauses. You're not seeing the no's and things that don't make sense.
Right.
So I think in a way, TV gives you that false perception that some mediums are just like everything they say is 100% accurate. It's not that way. So I appreciate this platform and Facebook Live because I'm not 100% accurate all the time, So I wouldn't even say all the time. I always say I'm like probably 99. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but just understand that some are good.
But the point is, right? It's not always spot on.
I'm Italian, and it takes me so long to make a point. And see, my hands are flying in the air again, and I can't talk without them.
I've been hiding mine. I've been trying to do better.
All right. So Heather, are you there?
I'm here.
Thank you for listening to my babble for the last few seconds.
I'm kind of used to it at this point. So
all right,
good.
So what can we do for you today, Heather?
I don't know. I'm just open to like whatever. So
open to whatever. So let's see where we go. All right. I have to talk about the first thing that comes to mind. Like I see these topics, like I'll see a topic pop in and I see career. So is there anything within your job career that you're thinking about right now? I
have several things going on right now. I
don't want you to tell me too much, but is career one of those that we can move into?
Definitely.
Okay, because that's where I was told. So
yeah.
So we'll just see. And Jennifer, if you feel anything too, please just jump in.
So I want to tell you what the image is that I see, Heather. Are you considering a book?
Of course. Always.
And I want to tell you exactly how I'm seeing this. It's really interesting. I'm seeing like photography with it. It's like,
yep.
And it's black and white, and then writing something about it. And it looks like a coffee table book to me. Does that make sense to you?
Yep. Yeah, that's one of the books I'm considering right now. Okay. I'm in the process of building up like a community so that when the time comes and I submit for publishing, that's like one of the big things. They want to see if you have a following.
Okay. Gotcha. So you're kind of building up to that. I'm
totally building up to that. Okay. I'm writing like a motherfucker over on Substack right now. Like I have 2 different series going on, and I'm writing about my experiences in Minnesota and like integrating, all the trauma and like everything right now. So
if it helps you at all, I do see this in my awareness. You are going to be able to manifest this. And I am seeing a little bit of time, but did you say something about a series? Because why do I feel like Did you say series?
So yeah,
Is that
I have
a series?
two. So on Mondays, so today, Mondays are for poetry. So that's when I
Okay.
share like a poem that I've written. And Fridays are for photography.
Well,
'Cause
you're up here.
I
Tell us
do
where we
both.
find you. Tell us where we find you. Let's get you some likes.
So my Substack is Lilac and Birch. So you can read, you can see my photography and my poetry there. Plus, I'm writing more like personal essay, like memoir type stuff, like everything that I'm integrating since I moved back to Minnesota.
Nice.
And just stories about my life, basically.
Yes.
I pulled a card for you, and it's the Seven
Okay.
of Wands. So it's standing your ground, and where this applies, or where I feel drawn to talk about, is like, stand firm on what your beliefs are with your work, and don't let the criticism seep in, or let people try to sway you into maybe lightening or softening the material that you put out there. I just feel like to just affirm that you need to stand your ground with your beliefs, and don't be
Okay.
afraid to talk about your beliefs.
Okay.
So that's what the card means to me.
Yeah, makes sense.
As you say that, I feel like there's a lot of healing happening in your writing.
Oh my God, so much.
This is where your truth and stand your ground comes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm just going to leave that there because I feel like you understand that.
And I'll throw one more thing, and then we'll move out. But I feel what came to mind when Jennifer talks, and we do this a lot. We work off each other quite a bit when we do these, especially the psychic side. But I feel like some of these boundaries, I don't think that has been broached yet, but the boundaries with family. I don't know if you don't get support from family, but I just feel like, I don't know, there's a boundary that needs to be in place for you to feel more comfortable about doing this work. I don't know if that makes sense.
Generally, because a lot of the things that I'm writing about right now is like my ancestry. Like I am like my mediumship abilities are strictly for my connection to my ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have my grandparents and my dad and my Aunt Sarah that are constantly. And right now, actually, what I've been experiencing is my Uncle Stephen is starting to come into the fold a little bit. And he was killed in Vietnam before I was even born. So I don't know anything about him. And so I feel like I don't have a ton of support from like, well, I'm a lone ranger as it is, but I feel like I really have to stand my ground when it comes to some of my cousins, because they are definitely a pain in my ass. So
like,
yeah.
As you talk about your father, Heather, I feel like your father was a writer. Is that correct?
He did. Yes, he did. And so was my mom. Both of them were.
Okay. I really feel your father come in as you talk about him.
Oh yeah.
As being a writer as well. And so just know this, just know that he is inspiring, guiding, and, protecting. And,
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you feel he is a big inspiration in this?
Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Heather. Thank you for coming on. All right. I love lively readings like that.
I know.
Heather, thank you for
quick. They're so quick. Okay, we have
Amy. And Amy's muted. And is everybody going to be camera shy today?
I don't know.
And I want to just say hello to everybody that's joining us. Oh, we have Michelle. Michelle, are you there?
Hello?
Hello, Michelle.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
Are you camera shy?
Yeah, I have a migraine today, so I'm not looking too hot.
Do you have a question for us? What can we help you with?
Yeah, actually, my question is, what is blocking me from finding love?
Okay. Jen, maybe you should go first, because I mean my messages with love and compassion. I do, but sometimes I can be very blunt with the information I get. So if you're open to bluntness and what I feel, I will gladly share that with you. And just know that this is coming. I do care about the situation. But what I feel is it's like you are blocking it because you need to work on yourself. There's
Okay.
something there that you still need to discover and work on in order to be happy with a partner.
Because I feel
And
like I've been working on myself for a few years now.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you the first thing that came to me is that you have to feel worthy of it. And I'm not, this is taking me to maybe something that's happened, or maybe a series of something that's happened in your life that has made you kind of feel not worthy about it, and maybe actually not even believe that it truly, truly exists in the form that you're looking for. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. I mean, because I'm in my 50s now, so it's like, if it doesn't happen relatively soon, I'm going to be like a senior citizen, which is fine.
Hey, I'm in my 50s.
So am I. We're all in that age group.
No, but I mean, I've like never been married. I've, had a few relationships my whole life with men. So it's like, they're very few and far between, put it that way.
I'm just feeling into this a little bit more. And it's hard in a public setting, but I just want to ask, how open are you to the information that comes in? Because sometimes I get very deep with this, because it's like tapping into your soul, and I see like past. So if you're open for it, I will gladly share it.
Yes.
Okay. So, and again, be brutally honest if this doesn't make sense, but I feel drawn to family, and I feel that there's something in your childhood that kind of sparked this, not this unworthy feeling. I just feel like there was, and I feel this more from like the dad side, maybe not having that support from your father, maybe not being open with feelings and emotions. And there's something there about being like, I don't know, there's something there. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah. My dad, I mean, he worked nights growing up, so I really didn't.
Are you still there?
But yeah, he's I mean, he's a good father, but just very non-emotional.
Right. And that's kind of what I've kind of, that's where I was pulled to talk about. And again, it may be just working on that, one of those, that issue right there, and just exploring that and asking yourself, how did that affect me? And this again goes with that self-work about, how did this affect me? Why am I holding on to this? Maybe there's memories that you've repressed about that just need to be talked about. Mm-hmm. So that could be one possible aspect. But again, when I reach into somebody's soul and connect, I have to talk about what I'm feeling and seeing. And that's where I was drawn to. So that may be just one aspect of why. Mm-hmm. And I got to say this is just a feeling that I just became aware of is, I think some people put so much pressure on themselves that they have to be in a relationship to be happy, and I see this a lot. And then I see the other side of people that are perfectly content being by themselves. They got to that point where it's like, I'm actually all right with this.
So something else, I feel like you write a lot of lists. Are you a list writer?
Yes, I would say so. Yes.
So what I see when I see the list is like, maybe you've got this, I feel like you have a list in your head of what this person is going to look like, be like. And maybe there's no flexibility in that. Does that make sense to you? It's okay if it doesn't.
I would say no. I mean, because I was interested, or I am interested in somebody right now that's totally not a person that I would have on my list for the most part. But
okay, and I think that's important. So I'm just going to leave that there.
Okay,
that's important to expand your focus a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Michelle.
See you later, Teresa.
And those are hard. I mean, those are the ones sometimes you need some, a little deeper perspective. And I don't know if everybody's familiar with soul readings, but that's kind of that area where you kind of just, you're sitting one-on-one and you kind of just go into that. And again, whatever comes up, you start talking about it because maybe it's something that you haven't thought of. And then you open up that little bit and you kind of explore it. And maybe there's something there that needs to be, worked on, and then it just progresses from there. So yeah.
Okay, it looks like Lindsay's up next. There's
Hello,
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Are you camera shy too?
Yeah.
Like everybody is today. It's just not the day.
Oh my
We like
goodness.
to see your beautiful faces,
Because
though.
it helps so
Love to
much with the energy too, and seeing the reaction of like Michael makes no sense at all. It's like,
But I know you make sense.
well, thank you. So, what can we do for you today?
Oh, I'm just, I just want to know what spirit has to tell me or spirit guides or whatnot. I'm all
right,
for it. Anything.
let's just see. All right, so you mentioned spirit guides, and I was like, okay, where are we going with this? So, funny enough, your spirit guide stepped forward.
Yes.
Well, and just bear with me, just go with me on this, because I'm just going to give you what I'm feeling and what they're showing me. So, one, I feel they got a sense of humor. So, what they're showing me is like, please let her know. And they're like leaning forward. I see this image. So their energy, but they give me images to understand sometimes. So what they're showing, they're like leaning forward, and I see the hand on the knee and one on the chin going, okay, let her know that we hear her. Why does she keep asking for more? Like, give me more signs, give me more signs. So they want you to know, first and foremost, they are there, they hear you. They want you to have more communications with them.
Yeah.
I know some of this may seem like he's pulling that straight out of where, but I mean, honestly, that's what they're showing me. It's like, all right, so have you had some really like hard emotional conversations with them? Because that's what they're showing me. And it's okay to say no.
I mean, it's more like I tried doing like tarot card stuff yesterday with them. I've had a lot of emotional things going on.
Okay.
So I pulled a card while Michael was talking, and it's actually it's the Tower card, the upside down Tower card, right?
That was
So
one
it
of the
talks
cards I
about,
pulled
yeah,
yesterday.
it talks about, and when it pulls in upside down, it's actually talking about resisting change. It's talking about resisting change, and picking up some pieces of something, and it's actually a time to start new. Like, I feel like the tower's already fallen in this case, and now it's time to build, and it's time to build something new, and you have this clean, beautiful slate. And so that's actually a positive card. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Let me just ask you, and this is kind of like to get a feeling here, but what's holding you back from doing this work?
Well, I have
resisting change.
Yeah.
It's funny because the guides are like, they show me holding the mirror up and asking yourself that question, what's holding you back? And I feel it's like some of the stuff, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but they're like showing me family. So again, I don't know if that's part of it, but I just saw like family holding you back, their thoughts,
family,
beliefs.
finances, I mean, stability. It's really, really hard to balance my life right now.
So interesting, because I pulled a card and it's the Page of Pentacles, which is, it says new job. Yes, it's a positive card. So good news in earthly matters, and setting goals and opportunities to increase income. So that was just something that kind of popped out while I was doing that. But I understand the struggle. I think Jen and I both do, but
Yes.
with all that, trying to balance a career, work, and trying to, kind of blaze your path with this work. It's difficult. I just feel the nudge, though. I just feel like you've been nudged, because I'm getting the similar feeling that I was experiencing. It's just enough to like keep getting your attention, that gnawing feeling like, hey, you need to explore this. Does that, do you understand that? Have you had that feeling? Like, it's like maybe like the feeling of, I've tried to put this away and set it aside, but something always pulls me back.
Yeah, I've tried, bits here and there to get back into it, but work has been the biggest stressor for me in my life right now.
There's one word that's coming to me right now, Lindsay, and it's confidence. So I just want to say this to you. This is what I'm hearing. Like, don't let the things that are happening around you hurt your confidence, because you can do this. I feel like they've hurt your confidence in other ways than just your, this work. Don't give them that power. I feel like it's about gaining some confidence again as well.
And I have to add this: you need to take a development class. That's like forefront in my mind right now.
I'm pretty sure you've told me that before.
Oh, I have?
Yeah.
Have you listened?
No.
So now we see the pattern of why does this keep happening? And I'll be honest with you. So what I'm feeling about that, it's like, one, it's going to get you into a group of people that are similar and share the same thoughts, beliefs, like we talked about for the first hour. It's like that common ground, that family. But it's just getting into that energy of being around people that do this too, and giving you the confidence to, like, okay, what I'm feeling and experiencing is real. The cards are making sense. It's going to give you a structure, at least a good starting point. Yeah. I just really feel that would benefit you. So don't make me tell you that again.
Oh yeah, lots of factors in my life have been holding me back from diving into it. So,
and I got to say this too, and there's a reason for this. Sometimes our physical life is the priority right now. I would say this: don't let it frustrate you, because this is going to be a normal process going forward. There's going to be things in your physical life that are going to, like, hold you back, if you will. They're going to just put things on pause. But appreciate that, because there's a reason that happens, and it happens to a lot of us. It really does. And sometimes it gets us a chance to slow down and just enjoy what we're doing when we can. Don't make it like this needs to happen now, or I'm never going to do this. Just enjoy the pace, enjoy learning. But I think just appreciate everything, and don't look at it as like a negative. Things are holding me back. I would shift that belief to this is happening for a reason. Like, my focus needs to be in other areas right now.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that's just how life is sometimes. I mean, look at me. I've wanted to do this full time for so many years, and I tried, and I won't say I failed, but I was pulled back to, no, there's things I need to take care of now in my physical life. So this isn't the right time. But I just kept going and kept persisting, moving forward. And that's all I can share with you, or else this will be an hour.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Okay, I'm going to pop out for a quick second while we bring on our next person.
All right, I'm going to look at comments, and I'm going to say hello to everybody that joined us a little later in the broadcast. If you missed the first half, you might want to, go back, because Jen and I talked about some of the not so talked about subjects around mediumship, and what you don't see on TV and what people don't normally talk about. So, especially if you're a person that does this work, maybe that'll benefit you, just listening into a little bit of some of the topics that we talked about. And I'm just going to go back. Hello, Jeffrey Peck. Everybody, Jeffrey Peck is an amazing medium as well. He has a show on YouTube, and I think you need to check out his channel. He was brave enough too. He had me on for an interview, and we were going to do a Facebook Live, right, Jeff? Sometime. I'm going to keep talking about that with you, Jeffrey.
I think I've heard you mention that to him a couple times.
Yep. I'm the person that pulls people out of their comfort zone. That's my job. Ask Jen.
So she's saying, how do we get a reading? There's a link in the comments there. If you click on that link, that will bring you up.
Yep, there's a chance. We want to say that there's people in the back, and Todd, the producer, we kind of left it up to him to just pull random people. So, it's just a chance to get a reading. So we don't want to say anything's guaranteed. Kaylee, yes, bring Kaylee in. She's not camera shy.
Hey guys.
Oh, and look at the cute little one.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. I still miss seeing you at the doctor's office. She
Yeah,
worked
I
the,
miss it there too.
So what can we do for you today?
Either guidance or, because I've got a kind of a big decision here, or reading, whatever comes through.
Whatever comes through. Let's focus on the decision. What are you trying to work towards?
I've got a job interview this week,
Okay.
and I'm excited about it, but also nervous because I'd have to leave the girls at daycare, but it's also, I don't know if we'll be able to even get them in daycare. So I'm kind of feeling super nervous about it.
So that was the first thing that I felt was it was a back to work thing. I wrote it here. I was going to talk about it when Michael was saying that decision to go back to work. What do you have on that, Michael? I got a couple of things, but give me just a second.
So Kaylee, you know me, so I'm just going to talk honestly what I'm feeling. I just have this feeling that this job is not the right fit for you. I don't know. Do you feel anything like that? Like there's something, I don't know. The feeling I get, it's like, here's my first opportunity. I'm going to jump at it. But I just feel like there's something that's just, it's like, I feel you could do the job, but I just feel it's not like a fit for you completely. And I just feel like there might be like a satisfaction kind of thing with that work. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's.
Yeah, I feel like the job itself fits perfect, but it's also, I'm kind of hesitant because of the girls. And, I've been with them for a year and a half now. So it's difficult to go back and think about leaving them, not really leaving them, but, having them go to daycare instead.
Yes.
So that's where I'm hung up.
Yeah. I have to tell you that I agree with Michael because what I was writing as he was speaking is timing. Like, I just kind of feel like that maybe it's not the opportunity or the job, but the timing. And I do feel that when that opportunity comes, it's going to feel different for you. Of course, we're mamas, right? So we never want to have somebody else take care of our babies. So that's always for a little bit. But I feel like the decision will be easier, that it will just flow because it will just feel right. That doesn't mean, like I said, you won't have the emotions about leaving the kids, but I do feel that there will be a difference in the way the decision feels to you. I don't know if that makes any sense. Do you understand that?
Yeah. Okay. I've kind of thought like, okay, this opportunity came up, so maybe it's a sign that I'm supposed to go back. But then the troubles we're having trying to find daycares, like maybe that's a sign that it's not time.
I feel like the timing's not right, but I do feel like the opportunity will come, and when it comes, you will know, and it'll make it easier to make those decisions.
Okay, makes sense.
Hopefully that helps.
Yes.
Yeah, it just felt uneasy to me, and I just, if it felt good, I've been like, yes, this feels so right. But there was something there. It's just like Jen said, and I'm glad she's here to talk because I have trouble with human language and putting sentences together and them actually making sense. But I was feeling, it just felt uneasy. And yeah, when she said that, the timing, that may be part of it. But yeah, I just felt like, no, this isn't a fit right now.
Okay. So. Good to know. I appreciate it.
Don't let it frustrate you, though. Don't let it frustrate you.
Too late.
Yeah, I know. But some things are priorities, so,
yeah. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Let me
where are we at? We got 15 minutes. How about this? We go back to just the comments and maybe just do quick cards.
Looks like
we're just going to go back to the chat group just to
okay. I was going to say, it looks like we have one more person in there. I didn't know.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Do you want to take the last person? Because we do have Tina in there. So let's bring Tina in and then she'll be the last and then we will go back to comments.
Hi, Tina.
Hi.
Hello.
How can we help you today?
What you guys got for me today?
So do you have anything specific or? Do you have a question?
Comes to mind is work. Like I don't know. Like what I do, I've been waiting for like a different position within the company to get closer to home, but I don't know if that's going to come about or if I just need to take the training position in the building that I'm at now to get indoors, basically. So patience, guidance. Yeah.
So the first thing that I was feeling with you was work related, but I felt overwhelmed. And I also feel like, I felt like there was going to be another opportunity for you. Now, I'm not sure if what you're talking about is that opportunity. But yeah, I feel a lot of burnout. I feel a lot of overwhelm, and I feel just a lot of unease and unhappiness about where you're at now. And so just that enough, it is like enough of a nudge to know that there needs to be a change. That's the way I'm feeling about it.
And I felt like moving completely away from whatever company you're with right now, that's where I was going with this. I felt like it's time to just move away from that company. And again, this is just guidance. I mean, it's up to you to make this decision, but that's what I was feeling. It's like, it's almost like this, the time has run its course and you need that change, but it needs to be somewhere else. So I don't know if you've been feeling that, but that's what I am drawn to talk about.
Interesting.
Yeah, does that make sense at all?
Yes and
Do you
no.
understand any of that? Okay.
I mean, I'm burned out, but I'm trying to stay with with the company that I'm with, for particular reasons. But like just to change within the company positions or to get closer to home, less driving, less outdoors, for my health and financially.
Yeah, I do feel that a change is necessary. And again, like I said, I don't know if it's that opportunity within the company or not, but I do feel a definite move and a definite change. So that information is for you to do what you wish. Always use discernment.
And it is hard. It's hard.
The choices that are best for you. I know it's hard.
Because again, people get the misunderstanding that Spirit's going to pop in and tell them, yep, you need to do this. It's again, we get a feeling and it's mostly validates what you're already thinking, feeling, going through. And sometimes it's a hard decision, and again, I can only give you what I felt, but it was like, I just felt like a complete change, like something else.
Got it.
But that's what I felt. So it's just things to consider. Okay. Well, we hope that helps and really wish you the best going forward.
Gina.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too.
You too. Thank you. Okay, let's go back to comments. Should we pull some cards? Michelle is asking for a card.
All right. Let me see. What other deck do I have? I think I left my Oracle cards at the office.
I've done that several times. And then I get up here and I don't have the cards.
Well, I have my Whispers of the Ocean Oracle.
Oh, that's a nice one.
They're just going to be general, just whatever comes up kind of things. So, and this was for who?
Michelle.
Michelle. Oh, there you are. Hi, Michelle.
Yeah. So I hope I said that right.
Let's see here. Michelle, do you have a question or we'll just pull you a card? So interesting. So I just, I got a card for you. So it's the turtle and it's adrift in shallow water. So with it, it's just what I feel is connecting with your inner self and inner peace and appreciating the small things and the small moments. Because I know I get in that situation too, where I'm just, everything's there. And it's funny because this is what I'm reflecting on. Yesterday, I was sitting out on the porch, just listening to the birds, and I was like, wow, I don't do this often enough. And it was just appreciating just that moment and not worrying about anything else in that moment. It was just kind of like meditative, if you will, maybe a forced meditation, or someone pushed me in that area just to have that experience. But it was wow, just appreciating just nature and nothing else. I mean, it was so quiet. All we heard was the birds. So I think it's just for you. It's just that appreciate the small things. I'll narrow it down to that.
I know we have just a few minutes, but just really quick, if anybody can connect with this, I've had a father energy in my awareness. Asked him for something that, like, so we didn't have to go through all the things. He says a father, and then he says he has a history of, he says engineer and then I see the railroad. So I'm curious if anybody can connect with him. Says a father, and he says engineer and I see the railroad. So I do believe he actually worked on trains. Or what do engineers do? Drive trains?
They do a lot. They actually,
I actually see him working on it, which is interesting, which is why I said working. And then I'm like, no, they drive. I think they so
have to
we'll
work
see if
the
anybody can connect with him. And then we'll just go with cards till then.
Let's see. I'm just kind of going back and seeing. Hey, Todd, I know you're back there. I don't know. I feel pulled to pull you a card, Todd. I don't know. You just popped in my, it was like, Todd needs something. So Todd, this is for you. And we can get the feedback later. So Todd, I'm not even going to pull a card because I just feel like the need to tell you, it's like you need to take a pause. And like, it's almost like take a pause and almost like take inventory of where you're at right now. And just, I don't know, I just feel like this need to reflect and just look at what you've accomplished, with this station and just everything going on right now. It's almost like you need to pat yourself on the back. And I feel maybe that you're not that type of person to take compliments or, that, because I'm similar in that way, but it's just like, give yourself permission, just appreciate and like sit in awe of what you've accomplished and how you're helping out all of us, by giving us a platform to do this work. But yeah, I just feel like it's like you just, I don't know, don't minimize what you've accomplished, if that makes sense. Like,
and here's the part that I pulled.
Yeah.
Wings. It just says wings. You never needed those wings to fly. So I'm just going to leave that because it goes right with Michael's message.
Yeah. So that's how that works sometimes.
Let's see. Okay, so Rita, I was just about to just finish this up. I was just going to say this because we're out of time. And if somebody were to resonate with this, father-in-law, I will take father-in-law because father-in-law, I will take that. I have to leave it short and sweet because we're getting ready to get off. But I just know that he made an appearance today. Also, I do feel a military history in the family. He shows, I actually see him with the flag, which of course it's Memorial Day. So Spirit's going to come in like that a lot, right? Just know that he came by. Just know that he's here. Just know that he's just making an appearance. He's saying hi. He's just saying hi from the other side. So I'm just going to leave that with you because we'll take up a lot of time. But I did want to let you know he's right here. He was a Marine. Okay. He's just acknowledging today and he says, I'm good. I'm here. And I think that's beautiful. I'm so happy that a veteran came in to see us today. Like, I love that. And thank you for your service, sir. Thanks for coming in. He gives me all the chills. He was a proud Marine, very proud Marine. This is where the emotions are coming with him too. So, okay, I'm just going to leave that with you, Rita.
And I pulled a card just for
pull a card. Get the feelings away.
Get the feelings. Wait, you told me not to feel, or I have to feel feelings.
I know, but see, we have the opposite problem.
Oh boy. So I pulled a card for the collective. So it's the octopus.
Yes.
So
sorry. She said
yes. Once
He
Marine,
is.
always Marine.
Absolutely.
I worked with some Marines. And holy crap, they are intense. So the octopus blending into your environment. And I feel this message is no matter what you put your mind to, you can fit in. I mean, there's a way to fit into every environment. It's just finding that way and finding the right people. Just like when we talked about in the beginning, for the mediums that maybe feel that they're all by themselves, it's again finding that environment and blending in with them and being a part of that. And also adapting to your environment. I'm trying to feel where this is going, but it's just adapting without judging. I don't know. That's what comes to mind. And I do that a lot. Like I'll judge like an area, I'll see something like, no, I don't want to go there. It just has this appearance. But then again, it's something for me to work on for myself is just not judging and just, okay, go there and just see what happens. And most of the time it ends up being a positive experience as opposed to, the alternative. I don't know if that makes any sense. Sometimes mine don't, but that's what I was feeling. Boy.
Is it
Jen, do you have something else? Because that was kind of weak.
Do we have time? I'll pull up one quick card.
Yeah, please.
Just a collective card. That wasn't weak.
Maybe that made sense to somebody. I don't know. I kind of trailed off there.
It happens.
I think it may. All right, let me just throw it. It just make some effort to blend into your environment. That wherever you are, just make an effort. Sometimes we don't put in the effort, and we just judge and leave instead of trying to blend in or try to fit in. I don't know. Maybe the message is
so. But
just
here's
try.
the card. Here's the interesting thing about this is there's a lioness. You've earned all of your stripes, is what it says. All of these things that you've gone through, all of these things that we might look as scars or trauma, just all of this, wear it proudly, like it's part of who you are. Don't try to hide that stuff. You know what? If we can embrace that into being a better human, that's what I encourage everyone to do. But just know this, all of those things that you have, all of those feelings that you have, you've earned them all. Some good ways, some hard ways, right? But you've earned them all. Colleen, what's that face for?
I know. Why the sad face? So again, these readings on these lives and any Facebook lives, they're quick. They're almost like, just a postcard, very quick. I mean, if you want in depth, you can book readings with both Jennifer and I, or either or. But that's where we get into, more personal messages because it's one-on-one, it's private. Again, spirit, when they come through with messages, they're not going to open up completely because they wouldn't do that in a living. They wouldn't air their whatever, personal whatever in front of a group. It's the same way with spirit. They understand that boundary. Right. So again, it's, the private sittings are completely different than what you're going to experience on a live.
I got you, Colleen. It's the way that I said that. So you understand how spirit works. I want you to take that as a message for you as well, like directly from your husband. Because now that you said that, I understood what came out of my mouth and the way that it came out. Because even after I was thinking that was kind of weak myself, but that's the way I have to say it. So, all right. I think that's it. That's a wrap.
I think that's it for today.
Right? And we'll be back next Monday.
I just want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us on No Agenda on WLTK. We appreciate you so much. Absolutely. Please like and share the channel. Again, we have a podcast. This goes to podcast immediately after. So if you missed anything, you can go back and watch the replay on Podbean. I got to educate myself. There's so many places that this station goes to. I know Apple Podcast, I believe Google. I mean, there's a list and it's all on the website, but it's everywhere. So thank you again for joining us, and we will see you next week for No Agenda.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com. WLTK-DB.com.